Good evening. Oh, yeah, we'll be recording starting now. Good evening and welcome to our report back. Buenas tardes y bienvenidos a nuestro informe a la comunidad. Before we continue, our interpreters will explain how we will proceed. Antes de continuar, nuestros intérpretes nos explicarán cómo vamos a proceder. And I'll pass it on to them.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Voy a compartir la pantalla. I'm going to share the screen. Ok, entonces otra vez buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Lupe y voy a estar haciendo interpretación con mi compañera Ángel. Ambos usamos pronombres ella. Estamos aquí para interpretar entre español e inglés. So, good afternoon. My name is Lupe. I'll be co-interpreting with Ángel to interpret between Spanish and English, and also both of us use they, them pronouns. Como algunos de ustedes saben, la justicia del lenguaje se refiere a la creación colectiva de espacios bilingües o multilingües, donde se da la bienvenida al lenguaje que prefieren o en el que se sienten más cómodos, donde ningún idioma domine al otro, utilizando herramientas como la interpretación y la traducción. So as some of you may know, language justice refers to the creation of bilingual or multilingual spaces where we welcome all languages, everybody can feel comfortable, where no language dominates the other, and we do that through the tools of interpretation and translation. La justicia del lenguaje también incluye el reconocer la historia de silenciar, borrar y marginalizar a otros idiomas, y nos invita a reconocer los lenguajes de los pueblos originarios, donde estamos radicando, y todos los idiomas en el espacio virtual que estamos creando. So another aspect of language justice is to recognize the history of silencing, erasing, pushing to the margins other languages, of, in particular, indigenous languages, where you might be living, and also to recognize the languages of everybody here in this space. Hoy este evento se llevará a cabo en español e inglés. Se usarán ambos idiomas activamente, así que si usted no se siente cómodo comunicándose en ambos idiomas, usted podrá elegir un canal para su idioma en unos pocos minutos después de que hayamos explicado cómo funciona la interpretación. So, this event will be in English and Spanish. We'll be using both languages actively, so if you don't feel comfortable being bilingual, you'll be able to choose a channel of your choosing to select the language that you want, after we explain how the technology works. Ok, entonces están en una laptop. Ahorita ya deberían de ver un globito abajo que dice interpretación, y le dan clic en ese botón y eligen español o inglés. So if you're on a laptop, you should see like a little globe icon that says interpretation. So you click that, they click English or Spanish. Puedes elegir donde dice mute original audio, y eso silencia a la persona que está hablando originalmente y nomás escucharías a los intérpretes. Si no seleccionas eso, vas a escuchar la voz de la persona original hablando un poquito bajo y al intérprete más fuerte. So you can choose also mute original audio if you only want to hear the interpreter, or like if you leave it off, then you will hear the original speaker, but on a lower tone, and the interpreter voice louder. Entonces les recuerdo otra vez, le dan clic al globo y lo eligen el idioma de su preferencia. So I remind you again, click on the globe and choose the language of your choice. Ok, entonces están en una laptop o celular, está un poquito escondido el menú. Tienen que darle clic en la esquina de abajo de la derecha, donde están los tres puntitos. Le dan clic a más o more, y luego eligen interpretación de idiomas o language interpretation, si tienen el celular en inglés, eligen inglés o español y luego tienen que asegurarse de dar terminar o done. Si no le dan clic allí donde está la flechita azul, no les va a funcionar la interpretación. So if you're on a tablet or a phone, go to the bottom right corner of your screen, click on the three little dots, select language interpretation, choose English or Spanish, and then click done. If you don't click done, the interpretation will not save itself and you will not be able to hear us. Pero bueno, Ahora voy a hacer una prueba para checar que funcione el audio. Entonces ahorita estoy hablando en español y no sé si alguien pudiera ir al canal de inglés y escuchar a Ángel interpretándome al inglés. Entonces no sé si alguien bilingüe me pudiera dar la seña de que me escucha, de que escuchan a Ángel interpretándome. ¿Alguien es? Ok, gracias, Erker. Okay, so what I was saying in Spanish that I'm not saying in, now I'm saying in English is I'm asking bilingual folks if now they can go to the Spanish channel and see if they can hear Ángel interpreting the words that I'm saying right now. So if somebody can go to the Spanish channel, make sure to let me know if you can hear Ángel interpreting me to Spanish. You should be able to hear my voice, well, not my voice, but Angel's voice saying what I'm saying, but in Spanish. So can somebody go to the Spanish channel and check, please? Because right now I'm not seeing anyone confirm, so I want to make sure that is working. So testing, testing. Okay, thank you, Earth account. Entonces voy a terminar de hacer el anuncio en español, ya que veo que está funcionando la interpretación. Entonces, tantita ética de interpretación. Por favor, hablen de manera lenta y tomen su tiempo. Si hablan muy rápido, no les podremos escuchar y se perderá la calidad de la interpretación. Si van muy rápido, le vamos a hacer así, este signo, para indicarles que están hablando muy rápido. También tienen que hablar recio. Si hablan muy quedito, no les podemos escuchar y vamos a hacer este signo para que podamos escucharles. También amamos el Spanglish, pero es muy difícil de interpretar, así que traten de quedarse en un solo idioma. Está bien si pasa, sé que será el idioma del futuro, pero por ahora está muy difícil en una sola oración interpretar ambos idiomas. Traten de ser conscientes que no podemos interpretar el chat, entonces cuiden de que no se vuelva un espacio monolingüe. Y acuérdense que hacer un espacio multilingüe es responsabilidad de todos. Entonces contribuyan acordándose de usar la interpretación, recordando a la gente que se conecte y cualquier duda o problema con la tecnología me pueden avisar a mí o a los facilitadores de esta reunión y van a notar que ciertas palabras las terminamos con E en vez de A o O, como decimos, no sé, doctores en vez de doctoras o doctor, y esa es una forma intencional de respetar el género de las personas, no asumir su género y también es ser neutrales de género cuando no tiene sentido ponerle género a las palabras, que es algo muy común en español, así que no es que estemos hablando mal, es una cosa que estamos haciendo a propósito. Pero bueno, Dominica, gracias por el espacio y ahora les dejo para que hagan su reunión.
Thank you, Guadalupe and Inge. Let's review our agenda for tonight and set the context for our work. So tonight we will review a timeline of our campaign leading up to the last hearing. We will hear from NMELC about the hearing and what we can expect as a result. We will provide a brief update on a related civil rights complaint we filed with the EPA for the state's failure to support language access as required by law. We will provide suggestions for protecting our health from the harmful effects of pollution in the time of COVID. And we will discuss next steps, including a description of a community health improvement process we will launch as part of our Main Street initiative. So for some context, as you may be aware, throughout our campaign, we have worked to inform our members and community of the proposed expansion and air quality permit sought by Associated Asphalt and Materials LLC, the environmental department hearing and decision, and the appeal hearing proceeding. Through door-to-door canvassing, through door-to-door canvassing, neighborhood meetings, notices, and presentations in schools, we've been making sure to engage our community, raise the questions they ask, listen to their concerns, and make space for their voices in the process. I myself testified on the first day of the appeal hearing this past February on behalf of more than 200 community members who submitted comments and testimonials, many of which were done so by many of you who are here with us tonight. Earth Care members and residents of the area could not all be present for the hearing, which took place in February, but they shared their words of concern and support of the appeal through petition signatures and testimonials, which we submitted on their behalf. As part of the public comment filing we made to the hearing officer, we included a community petition signed both online and in person by close to 600 Santa Fe residents, the vast majority of whom live in the immediate impacted area, being the south side of Santa Fe. Each signatory represents a household, family members, loved ones whose interests are at stake, and that is a substantial number of people in our community that support the appeal and oppose the permit. So on the last day of the hearing, or on the day of the hearing, I went to El Camino Real Academy and picked up signature sheets that were given to me by 3 teachers with an additional 42 signatures that were collected by the 6th graders who have been taking action to protect the health of their neighborhood and their future. It is clear that the community is asking for the reversal of the NMED decision and reconsideration based on more stringent air quality standards and more appropriate data. We are clear that health equity and environmental justice are our priorities. So that was just an overview. And now for Linda Marianello, who is a member of our coalition and a resident of Tierra Contenta. She first heard about the proposed expansion of an asphalt plant operation in December of 2019. And she has helped to chronicle our campaign and has created a timeline that we will post on our website. A summary can be seen in the slides. It's worth noting that we're going on 3 years and we're at the point where multiple paths forward may develop. One path may continue to be the legal one through the court. Another may be a political path that targets local government. And still another may be a public health approach. We will consider them all, and your voice will be critical to deciding which to prioritize at any point. Now, I will pass the mic to Maslin, our friend and NMELC attorney, leading the legal defense of our community's health and well-being. Maslin.
Thanks, Dominica. Hi, everybody. So, as Dominica said, my name is Maslin Locke, and I'm a staff attorney at the New Mexico Environmental Law Center. I've been working with Earth Care and the community on this campaign for the last 2 years, which has really been focusing on air quality and air pollution on Santa Fe's south side and the disproportionate impacts of this particular permit and asphalt plant consolidation. So in 2019, Associated Asphalt applied for an air pollution permit that was essentially to consolidate 2 hot mix asphalt batch plants and the sort of accompanying facilities that go with hot mix asphalt batch plants. We had our first hearing on that permit application in March of 2021 and just had an appeal hearing at the end of February before the state's Environmental Improvement Board, which is the body that oversees the New Mexico Environment Department's decision. The essential points that we've really been arguing are, one, that the department has issued a permit despite the fact that associated asphalt materials will be violating ambient air quality standards, and that the Environment Department really did a lot of gymnastics to explain away some issues that existed in their air dispersion modeling that were either contrary to law or can't be verified really by anybody. The second big point we argued is that the department really can't reasonably say that based on the applicant's air permit application, they actually know what this facility is going to be emitting, which is we know they're emitting a lot of air pollution that's harmful to public health, but we don't know in what quantity that's going to be emitted. And then the third argument we really made was that this permit was going to disproportionately impact the communities and the residents on Santa Fe's south side. So those are sort of our big 3 points. The other thing we did argue at this last hearing in February and in our closing arguments that we just filed yesterday, so I'm a little delirious, that's why, but was that at the first hearing in March of 2021, the Environment Department violated Title VI of the 1964 Civil Rights Act by failing to provide meaningful access to Spanish-speaking community members, and really treating community members quite poorly in the way that they handled the entire hearing. So as I said, we just filed our closing arguments literally yesterday at 4:58 p.m. and we can expect to get a decision probably sometime around July at the earliest. It's going to go to the hearing officer now. He has 30 days to make a decision, or a recommendation rather, and then that recommendation will go to the EIB, and the EIB will deliberate and ultimately decide what happens next. So stay tuned for any updates with that. As Dominica said, one of the options with that potential decision, depending on what happens, is to take it to the Court of Appeals, but we'll know more when we get there. So yeah, the other thing we did is based on the civil rights violations from the first hearing in 2021, we also filed a complaint with EPA Civil Rights Compliance Office. And I think Miguel is going to talk more about that. But first, we're going to show a quick video of the hearing. And then I will pass the mic to Miguel. And I'm sorry, interpreters, I know I spoke way too fast, and I appreciate your patience with me. But yeah.
I told Linda that had we known what was planned for the south side of Santa Fe in terms of these polluting industries, we would never have moved here some 12 and a half years ago. Neighbors we spoke with expressed similar feelings and were angry that the realtors and sellers did not disclose this information to buyers. Finally, I believe that approving the air quality permit for associated asphalt and materials without consideration for the cumulative effects of pollution from all of the sources I've mentioned, and without regard for Santa Feans who are largely low-income persons of color, is morally wrong and unacceptable. And so I ask you to reverse NMED's decision to approve the air quality permits for associated asphalt and materials, because it unjustly favors business over the health and lives of Southside Santa Fean residents.
Thank you, hearing examiner, members of the board. My name is Domenica Nieto. I am an organizer with Earth Care, whom you heard from earlier today. The petition reads, "We residents of the impacted neighborhoods are concerned about the negative impacts this large operation will have on air quality, noise and vehicle traffic on public roads, that it will degrade natural beauty and quality of life for residents, exacerbate public health issues, and threaten wildlife, historic structures, tourism, water quality, water conservation, and property values. We are concerned there are more polluting industries coming here, increasing the impact on our children's lungs. Homes, parks, and schools may become full of harmful dust, fumes, and residue. We are concerned about environmental racism. More and more polluting businesses are coming to the south side of Santa Fe. This is the most densely populated part of Santa Fe and is home to the greatest number of youth, low-income, and immigrant families. Our community is already the most impacted by COVID, and now we may see increased rates of asthma and other diseases in our children. We do not believe the current permit adequately addresses the human and environmental concerns or the current EPA standards. We are concerned that the current operations of the company may not be compliant with air quality standards and that sufficient monitoring and oversight do not exist to protect our community's health. Given the absence of this information, we are asking the EIB to reverse the permit approval because associated asphalt operations have not been sufficiently monitored, compliance has not been proven based on appropriate standards, and the impacts to the community of the consolidated plant operation should be studied in the context of COVID-19 and cumulative air quality impacts in the area. We do not believe there was enough information nor data for the NMED to approve the associated asphalt plant's permit requirement.
Thank you for showing that quick video. And I want to now talk a little bit about our EPA complaint. Y lo voy a hacer en español, perdón. Buenas tardes. Como se ha mencionado, pusimos una queja de violación de los derechos civiles de hispanohablantes porque en la primera audiencia sucedió lo siguiente. Al presentarse un miembro miembro hispanohablante de EarthCare, el servicio de interpretación no estuvo listo. Pasaron varios minutos llenos de tensión y por fin el encargado de la audiencia declaró que debería de proceder en inglés, ya que él determinó que el inglés de ella era suficientemente bueno para hacerlo. Otras personas hispanohablantes, al oír y ver lo sucedido, decidieron no participar y no presentar sus comentarios. La participación de ella fue estresante para ella y después decidimos apoyarla y poner una queja. La EPA respondió en forma afirmativa y busca una resolución entre la comunidad y el Departamento de Ambiente de Nuevo México. Nos hemos reunido con representantes de la EPA y estamos formulando los pasos que pediremos que el departamento tome para corregir el problema. No tenemos fecha aún para cuándo se resuelva el caso, pero les avisaremos cómo vaya progresando. Otra cosa que nos enteramos de que no era la primera vez ni la única queja y que ya tenían supuestamente un acuerdo, pero no lo han estado respetando. Entonces les avisaremos cómo vaya progresando. Thank you. Gracias. Vamos a hablar de los siguientes pasos. We will now talk about next steps in our campaign. This past year, we applied for the airport road corridor to be considered for Main Street designation. We were approved, which means that we are getting technical assistance and some funding from the State of New Mexico Department of Economic Development Main Street office and the city of Santa Fe to convene and facilitate community meetings where we will collectively design the community we want to live in. Our application included the general vision of a community that is healthy, sustainable, socially just, and equitable. We also mentioned that we want to live in a community where we drive development decisions, where we determine priorities, and where we, the community, create the vision we want to work towards. With that in mind, we are incorporating this environmental justice campaign within the Main Street Project's health and wellness focus area. The other proposed areas we will focus on are parks, open spaces and recreation, housing justice, education and training, community economic development, arts and culture, food justice, youth, and families. Others may also develop out of our community meetings. You will receive an invitation soon to join one of our focused work areas and attend our first community congreso en Tardeada on Sunday, May 22nd from 1 to 5 p.m. All subsequent meetings, one for each focus area, will also be on Sunday afternoons and will end in a celebration of our community, a Tardeada. We have invited today Steve Martinez, Health Promotion Coordinator for the New Mexico Department of Health, to briefly describe a process they will facilitate for us as part of the Main Street. And I will now pass it over to Stephen.
Yes, thank you, Miguel, and good evening to everyone. As mentioned, my name is Steve Martinez. I work for the Department of Health, Public Health Division on the Health Promotion Team, serving the Northeast region of New Mexico. And here today, we also have Program Manager and my boss, Amy Sandoval, who's also was able to join us this evening. For those of you who are maybe unaware, health promotion is a core function of public health. The intention is to support communities and individuals to cope with and address health challenges. This is accomplished by building healthy public policies, creating supportive environments, and strengthening community action and personal skills, which is something you all are heavily invested in and already doing.
Steve, sorry to interrupt you, but you might be going too fast for the interpreters. If you could just slow down a tiny bit.
Okay, I didn't notice that.
You have such great info to share. Thank you.
Yes, I'll slow down. Goes against your second nature not to speak at your normal pace, right? Anyhow, Miguel has invited us here today to just speak broadly about a process that can be utilized by community health councils, partnerships, coalitions, really folks who are invested in changing the current health of their communities. It is a collaborative process that is used to identify needs and resources in a community, and then in turn develop action plans for community health improvement. This process is a cyclical process, meaning that the several steps and functions within each are often revisited. And I'll just describe a little bit of each during our time allotment here today. And hopefully in future meetings, we can go into more depth in terms of the specific training related to this process. So we look at community building in terms of what is currently in place, what types of resources are available to councils, coalitions, partnerships to address the various health concerns in their communities. Part of that is looking and to build additional capacity among the council, partnership, coalition in terms of membership, inviting people to the table who may not have a voice or voices aren't being heard, and really supporting grassroots community engagement, such as something you all are already doing here. A big part of this is also community assessment and prioritization, which I know you all have invested time and energy into. Miguel has also shared some of the products that have come out of your all's work. In terms of identifying additional community needs, this process can be utilized for a number of issues, including environmental health justice, something you all are already working on, but also including issues that pertain to youth and families, and kind of intertwined within all of this processes are the social determinants of health. Those conditions that affect a person's ability to live a long and healthy life, such as quality access to healthcare, access to healthy foods, transportation, right? A number of these things that we know impact a person's ability to be healthy. And part of all this, of course, is the community action piece, right? Putting to action the results of your assessment and prioritization, right? So what are those key priorities that need to be put in place in order to create some sort of long-term impact in the community based on what was identified? So, this is a process, again, that our team supports community health councils in implementing, and we do provide the TA support for you all to be able to do this. And in prior meetings with Miguel, it was something of interest that Main Street Project specifically was interested in moving forward. It is a best practice in terms of this is not new information. This has been done across the state of New Mexico. There are current health councils that have been utilizing this process for a number of years and have seen positive outcomes as a result. So that's really kind of a high level overview in terms of perhaps what to expect. And I'd invite Amy Sandoval, my program manager, to add anything if you feel it necessary.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Amy Sandoval. I am the Northeast Region Health Promotion Program Manager. Steve, I think you explained everything very well in terms of what our role would be. We, as a program, go at the guidance of our community partners in terms of what your needs are, and utilizing this community health improvement process as a framework to help you all get there. Another component that Steve touched on a little bit is that our health promotion team can also provide data to be able to guide and make a case in point in terms of creating your assessment and plan to guide your initiatives forward. It also helps with measuring and tracking to show how progress is being made. So that's another resource that our program would be able to offer as well. We are so excited to be able to work with you all in this capacity and to see the wonderful work that is being done on the south side of Santa Fe. I am a resident of the south side of Santa Fe, so this is home to me, and I am committed in helping you all, including our community, to be able to produce something that is going to have a meaningful impact, not only just for now, but for the future of our students as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy, and thank you, Steve. We are really excited about this partnership and about the opportunity to work together, not just to identify those things that we do not want happening in our community, but also to develop and promote those things that we do want, right? It has to be both. It can't just be anti, right? We need to start promoting those things that we want to see in our community. One of the things that we did during the initial part of the campaign is work with Domenica and Stephanie, one of our other young organizers. Were working with teachers and students at El Camino Real Academy. And we got some funding to support a project where they created models, they created drawings, and even like short stories and poems about those kinds of things that were of concern to them, because they were involved in this initial campaign, and several of them participated in the hearings. Not only did they express through art and other creative skills their concern about some of these threats to their health, but they also developed models and short stories and images and poetry about those kinds of things that they wanted to see in their community. And we have those in our office still, and we're hoping to be able to add to that and do as part of our Main Street project, do a public showing of that art sometime in the very near future. Please make sure that you've signed in, that you've used the form that's in chat so we can capture your information, your contact information. We will be following up with you to invite you not just to this the health improvement process, but to the other focus working groups as part of this Main Street project. So make sure you sign up, please. I want to also share some other helpful and important information about our health in the face of air contaminants during COVID times. Although the overall COVID spread and severe illness and hospitalizations are down, we are seeing an increase in some communities. Santa Fe continues to see significant community spread according to New Mexico Department of Health. 87507 zip code, which is ours, specifically the south side of Santa Fe, continues to have higher incidences. There is a connection between air pollution, industrial contaminants, poverty, and higher rates of infection and spread, according to public health researchers worldwide. It's very likely that we have seen higher infection and death rates on the south side because we live next to an industrial zone that is expanding. So keep your masks on, get vaccinated, wash your hands, and in the words of Cesar Chavez, organize, organize, organize. We're way ahead of schedule, which is good because we have time now for questions and answers. And I'm hoping that people, that some of our presenters can stick around and answer questions that might come from our participants. We have a number of people here, almost 40 people that have chosen to be with us today. So I'd like to open it up to see if there's any questions, any comments. I know we have some folks from Albuquerque, South Valley, that are in a similar battle down there. So I'll open it up now. And I can't see all the what do you call the screen. So if somebody can help maybe keep the queue of who may be interested in asking a question or making a comment. And remember to speak slowly so our interpreters can keep up. Yeah, anyone?
Yes, Miguel, I just wanted to mention that I think we need to have some communication about choosing dates for scheduling things because our nonprofit has an event on May 22nd. And so I wouldn't be available to participate in that session. What are you planning on doing at that session, if I may ask?
That session will be the kickoff for the Main Street community conversations. So that'll be the first. It'll be the general one. We'll be giving some extra guidance to all the focus groups, and the conversations will be going on through September. Right. So that very first one will be the kickoff. We'll tape it. We'll have it available for people to watch afterwards. The work will start after that. Anyone else?
Richard Moore, raise your hand.
Yes, Mr. Moore.
Thank you, and for an excellent presentation. As was mentioned, my name is Richard Moore. I'm co-coordinator of Los Sardinas Institute, the Gardens Institute here. We're located in the South Valley, although we're a citywide, statewide environmental and economic justice grassroots organization. I think much of the report back that's taken place is very similar to part of the struggle that we've been engaged in for years here in the Mountain View community in the South Valley of Albuquerque. I would just flag several particular pieces. One, and any way that we can support you all, in any way from Los Sardinas Institute, that we can provide any support or joint experience between the experience that you all have gained and the experiences that we've gained throughout the years. We're here to do that. And then lastly, I would say this issue of cumulative impact is again, it's not just Santa Fe, it's Albuquerque, it's a statewide issue. The cumulative impact and the results of our air contamination, water contamination, and our soil contamination is very, very crucial. I think some on the call or some on the Zoom are aware that we've been working on that for years and years. We have formed during the process of co-forming a coalition around cumulative impact in anticipation to submit something to the Bernalillo County Air Quality Board. So again, we'd like to be able to keep in touch with you all on that at some particular point. We'd like to be able to go statewide on the community of impact piece, and we're going to need all of our sisters and brothers, not only in the south side of Santa Fe, but the South Valley of Albuquerque and other communities, both rural and urban communities throughout the state. So again, thank you very much for inviting us to hear the report back. You are doing incredible necessary work. And let's keep on keeping on going. And together we believe that we can win. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard. Amazing contributions that you all continue to make to the movement, like you're saying in Albuquerque, but also statewide and even nationally. Thank you very much for being with us today. And likewise, if we can support any of your actions and your work down there, please let us know. Floor is open, mic is open. Anyone else?
Miguel, it's Linda again. I just was wondering if we don't have questions, should we do a little review of kind of where we are right now, particularly in terms of monitoring emissions? I think that that Senor Martinez brought that up, the idea of kind of collecting data and resources they may be able to bring to bear to assist us. But I wonder if it would at least be useful for people to start thinking about the idea of actually monitoring the asphalt plant emissions, as we've been discussing for a number of months.
Yes, that's one of the things that we have to keep on our at the top of our list. So as we kick off the community health promotion process, right? The kinds of activities that we will do to gather data, right, in terms of social determinants of health. This will be one of the environmental determinants of health, right? That we will then, working in partnership with the Health Promotion Bureau, see if we can find the resources. There's some interest, even possibly from the public schools, to make this a science project, right? So within that framework, hopefully the monitoring will find not just support, but a home. Right? And any other ideas that people come up with as well, right? That's the beauty of doing collaborative, collective work, is that all the ideas can be shared, can be heard, can be discussed within community, right? Rather than, as Steve was saying, rather than the state or somebody else coming and telling us what the priorities are, the communities create their priorities, right? And they find technical support, in this case from Department of Health, Health Promotion Bureau, but also hopefully from other entities, both public and community-based. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. So if there's nothing else, Alma has a question or comment.
Not a question, just a comment. Like a big thank you for hosting this space and for all the information shared and all the hard work. And I guess I just wanted to highlight and uplift the work that was done with the students. Like, these images really just speak to me. I feel like we can all agree they're part of the reason why us as adults, as mentors in whatever capacity, are part of this, is because they deserve the right to breathe. They deserve the right to live and play and go to school in a safe place, and it shouldn't be based on their income or where their family can afford to live that affects their health. But I just want to say I really am excited to be able to see the projects and the vision of these young people, because it's important to dream. And I really feel like that is something that they set an example for, right? Is to be able to say, like, yeah, not only what do we have a problem with, but what do we want to see in our parks, in our community. So as someone who was born and raised in Santa Fe and wasn't always asked as a child about my neighborhood or my community, I just feel like it's really beautiful that this is an intergenerational project. So thank you so much to Earth Care. And I see Noah's hand up. Do you mind if I pass it?
Pass it to Noah.
Thank you for letting me speak. I really appreciate the work you're doing. I just reminded of some of the health effects that are going on with these asphalt plants. At any rate, I myself suffer from asthma, and I'm particularly hit by ozone pollution. I'm out here in El Dorado, and there's a lot of air pollution going on from methane leakage and industrial activity and car pollution. Obviously, the asphalt plants are a big source of pollution. They have multiple effects. I'm a psychiatrist, so one of the things I learned about from Rick Weissler, who was a campaigner out in South Carolina, was that some of the fumes from the asphalt plants seem to be associated with increased depression and suicidal behavior, which he was very concerned about. He got involved because his mother developed cancer, which he thought was perhaps secondary to the asphalt plants near her. So I think this is a really big topic, and I'd like to do whatever I can to help.
Thank you. Thank you, Noah. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Yeah. Okay. I have one more question that's related to the Swan Park meeting next week. And how does this fit into kind of the context of the other stuff that we're doing? I think that one of the things about Swan Park that is going to be challenging is that people, it's kind of been allowed to go on for a long time with certain problems without anyone actually doing anything to address those issues. And so I know that a lot of my neighbors are fairly upset, and we'd love to have some guidance as to how we can participate in that discussion in a way that's helpful to the whole community.
So, and that's one other reason why we want people to make sure to fill out the form so we can follow up with everybody. So we were going to leave some space for announcements. Thank you, Linda, for that great transition. So a week from today, there will be a community meeting. I think it's virtual also around Swan Park, which is really the only park that we have on the south side of Santa Fe. Right? There's other smaller, not many, but there's smaller parks that aren't really parks. And we've got some open spaces that are also being gobbled up by developers, right? Even open spaces that were designated as open space and paid for with public funds are being turned over to developers. So anyway, we will follow up with folks around Swan Park next week. One of the challenges with that park is that the city sees it as a regional park, not a local park. So input from the local community has not been solicited. The initial planning left out a lot of people from the process. We've been asking them to translate materials and and create a process that will be more inclusive and also more meaningful. We're not sure if that's going to happen immediately. We will follow up with you all about some suggestions for next week's, for those of you that can participate with us. For some of the things that we'd like, for them to ask, which is basically the same kinds of things we're talking about here. We need community-driven decisions. We need, local impact to be considered. We need to talk about what has happened, just like with the industrial zone, when nobody is monitoring, nobody's paying attention. There's lots of negative impacts on our communities, right? But nobody is there to monitor it, to keep track. So we want to make sure that not just issues around the zone and the pollution and environmental justice issues, but any kind of development in our area that we have input, that we provide direction, right? And that we be in a position to make decisions, not just accept the impacts of other people's decisions. So this really is, and health is one of the most personal as well as communal concerns, right? This is an opportunity for us to take charge of our community, of our lives, right, and of our health. The park is a part of that. So we will be following up with everyone, an invitation, the link, and some concerns that have already been documented by local residents. Thank you, Linda. And with that, if there's any other announcements coming up, I know that's Earth Week. There's a couple of other things that are happening this week if anybody would like to share. and then we'll end early. There's no reason in meeting till 7:30 just because we said we were going to meet till 7:30, right? Unless anybody's getting a per diem, I don't know. I don't think they give Steve, you don't get a per diem, right, for staying later? Okay, we're good then. So if there's nothing else, if there's no other announcements.
Oh, I have one.
Yeah. Yes.
Joni, I think you're, there you
Okay. Hi. My name is Joni Ahrens, and I'm with Concerned Citizens for Nuclear Safety, and I very much appreciate the opportunity to listen in to all the fine work that you all are doing. I'm very happy that you talked about the open space issue. I think you were referring to the South Meadows open space. I've been watching that as well. I wanted to let folks know that folks are gathering on Earth Day, the 22nd. The Santa Fe Justice Makers and others are going to meet at the Roundhouse at 11 a.m. And then they're going to walk to the corner of Guadalupe and Alameda to join a weekly vigil that we've been doing on that nuclear weapons are now illegal under the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. And that's a 1-hour protest, peaceful protest. And please join us if you would like to.
Thank you, Joni.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. All righty. Then with that, I would want to thank everybody for being present, for sharing.
Hold on, Miguel.
Yes, yes.
I just want to make sure that folks also know about Yucca's Earth Day March, which is at 5 o'clock on the plaza. And it is to march to the Energy Summit, which is being hosted by Avangrid and PNM, our big IOU utilities, and also a bunch of oil and gas folks. So we'll meet at the plaza at 5, led by our Yucca youth leaders, and then march over to the Drury, where a private reception is being held by these utilities and oil and gas execs for our political leaders, which is very troubling. So anyways, please join us at 5 o'clock on the plaza for a march led by Yucca Youth United for Climate Crisis Action, our youth-led arm of Earth Care. Thanks.
The date, Bianca?
The 22nd on Earth Day.
Okay.
Thank you. And we will follow up with everybody with reminders of all these and other activities and events that are happening.
And
So
just one last one. Sorry,
Sure.
Miguel.
Go ahead.
One last one is an invitation. This Saturday is our member meeting for Earth Care. It will be virtual, and I did put some information in the chat. So if you haven't already confirmed to attend, hopefully there's still a little bit of time on your calendar this Saturday that you can join us. Thank you.
Time, please, Alma, dear.
Oh, thank you, Linda. So it's this Saturday, the 23rd, and we're starting at 1:30, and we will go till 2:45 if we need to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great sharing of information, and hope to see everybody at all the events. So with that, I want to thank our interpreters for the work and for being patient with us, for mixing languages and going too fast and mispronouncing things. I want to thank everybody that helped in putting today's meeting together. Domenica, Marianne, Bianca, everybody that made this thing happen, because I'm a low-tech Mexican. I don't, this wouldn't happen if it was just me. So thank you all for all your support and all your help. I thank the Department of Health, Stephen and Amy, for being here with us. I think also Representative Tara Lujan was here with us today. And thank you to all the community folks. You really are the priority for these meetings. It's your voice and your decisions that will help guide this work. Thank you, Linda, for keeping great notes and reminding us of things that we sometimes forget. So thank you all. Enjoy your evening and enjoy Earth Week. Get out there and cause good trouble. Thank you very much. Good night.